Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 4th, 2025, and UEFA could sanction Barcelona for violations of the financial fair play rules. Also, it's been revealed that Hansi Flick was instrumental in Joan Garcia agreeing to come to the club. And finally, Barcelona faced some stiff competition from Inter Milan in regards to Marcus Rashford. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder that starting June 14th, every Saturday of every week, I will be holding a special podcast exclusive only to channel members, where it's going to be an informal podcast where we're going to be able to talk about anything you guys want, including players, teams, Barcelona, football, other sports, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll be able to talk about. It's going to be more of an informal hangout between me and you guys. Again, every Saturday of every week starting June 14th. This will be exclusive only for channel members. So those of you already members, don't worry, you'll be part of this, or you'll have access to this, I should say. And for those of you who are not members yet, you still have time to become one. Anyways, let's begin with the news, because ladies and gentlemen, today we were surprised with some bad news, because Barcelona could be sanctioned by UEFA for violation of financial fair play rules. Now, UEFA is expected to release a list of clubs that have violated financial fair play rules during this past season, and it's expected that Barcelona will be on that list. And this violation stems from something we talked about for a long time, which is the activation of the economic levers, which is when Barcelona sold club assets in order to generate money and then use that money to make signings. Because when Joan Laporta first took over the club was in total financial mess. So the sanctions or the violations of the UEFA financial fair play rules stem from these economic levers. Now, the reason why UEFA could sanction Barcelona, or are set to sanction Barcelona, because of course Barcelona did sell part of their TV rights in exchange for money, and they counted that as operational income, as money that the club made, and UEFA seems to disagree with that. UEFA are saying that, selling your assets could not count as operating income. And since Barcelona did count the sale of, or the income from the sale of the TV rights as operating income, UEFA are stating that Barcelona have violated the financial fair play rules, and as such, they are set to sanction the club. Now, UEFA have already sanctioned Barcelona before for the violation of these rules. It was back in 2023 when UEFA sanctioned Barcelona 500,000 euros. They fined Barcelona 500,000 euros. Barcelona appealed this sanction to the arbitration court, and the arbitration court actually agreed with UEFA, and he even said that, hey, this sanction is actually pretty lenient. So Barcelona lost that appeal, and of course, in their decision also, the court stated that if Barcelona were caught violating financial fair play rule again, that the punishment could be harsher, because now we're talking about a repeat offense. So how can this offense get more serious? Well, if UEFA do decide to go forward and punish Barcelona, we're talking about either restriction of registration of players for the next Champions League season, meaning that UEFA would restrict how many players Barcelona could register, or I should say, we're also talking about a reduction of points for the group stages of the next Champions League season. Now, Barcelona, or people close to Barcelona or at the club, are currently stating that most likely they're expecting that the number of players registered will be restricted. That's the punishment they're currently expecting, because they do have precedent where UEFA have punished previous clubs in a similar situation to Barcelona by restricting how many players instead of 26, 21. So that's the punishment that Barcelona are currently anticipating. And hopefully it is, because even though it's still bad, it's better than having points deducted before the season even begins. Now, this just goes to show, how this whole thing works, because we have clubs like Manchester City, like PSG, who, blow all financial fair play rules every season, spending hundreds of millions on transfers, spending hundreds of millions on salaries. But hey, whatever, we look the other way, or we just like give him a slap on the wrist. But then you have a club that's Barcelona that was struggling financially, has to sell its own assets to be able to get out of the financial hole they're currently in. And what do? Oh, you're struggling financially? Cool. We're going to make it worse for you by punishing you with financial fines. That makes total sense. And by the way, Barcelona, one of the biggest revenue generators for people like UEFA, like FIFA, or even like La Liga itself. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think that these governing bodies are run by total morons. But anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, there is plenty of interest in PaVictor, and Barcelona are reportedly expected to make around 5 million euros for the transfer of the Barcelona center forward. Now, PaVictor came to the club during the 2023-2024 season on loan from Girona to Barca Athletic, where he absolutely killed it. He was the top scorer for Barca Athletic, which of course prompted Barcelona to sign him on a permanent transfer during summer of 2024. But unfortunately, this past season, he did not have much playing time under Hansi Flick. And this means that the player has decided to leave the club, even though it has always been his dream to play for Barcelona. He has decided to leave in order to look for playing time somewhere else, because after all, at 23 years old, he wants to be playing. And while it seems that there are plenty of clubs interested in PaVictor, it's actually 5 clubs so far in La Liga and from outside, including Sevilla. And it's reported that Barcelona are expected to make around 5 million euros for the transfer of PaVictor, which of course might not sound like a lot, but it all adds up because, as I reported before, besides the VIP seats deal, which is now supposed to count, that Barcelona have finished building those VIP seats, Barcelona still need 50 million euros more to achieve the 1-1 rule. They already made 6 from the transfer of Alex Baye to Como. They're set to make 8 million euros from the transfer of Todibo from Nice to West Ham. And 5 million euros for PaVictor. Like I said, it all adds up because now we're talking about 19 million euros total between those 3 sales. So 19 million euros down, 31 more million euros to go. But if you count the next one, it can even be less money to go to achieve the 1-1 rule, because we do have to talk about Noah Darvich, who's currently attracting interest from Germany. Of course, the 18-year-old attacking midfielder signed for Barcelona 2 summers ago in the summer of 2023. He arrived with lots of expectations, lots of potential. Barcelona expecting him to be the next best thing when it comes to midfielders. But unfortunately, after spending 2 seasons with Barca Athletic, Noah Darvich has failed to impress. And as such, Barcelona are set to transfer him during the summer. And it's reported that Noah Darvich is currently attracting interest from both Stuttgart and Bayer Leverkusen, who are reportedly willing to offer 4 million euros for the German midfielder. So again, if you add these 4 million to the other 19 million euros we talk about, now we're talking about 23 million euros down. And of course, 27 million euros more to go to achieve that 1-1 rule. Now, let's talk about the next big news, which is something we discussed during today's podcast, which if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out. But that news is in regards to Joan Garcia, which, as I reported during the podcast, Barcelona have already reached an agreement with the player. Yesterday, Joan Garcia met with his agent and his family members at a restaurant where he agreed to all the terms that Barcelona had offered him, including a 5-year contract and a clause in that contract that guarantees his registration. So now it's only a matter of time for Joan Garcia to become a Barcelona player. Of course, right now, all the attorneys are drafting the final version of the contract. The player's going to put pen to paper once that draft is done. And then Barcelona will deposit the 25 million euros with La Liga in order to pay the release clause of the player. But that's not the news, because I already told you about that during the podcast. The news is that it's been revealed that Hansi Flick was actually instrumental in convincing Joan Garcia to come to Barcelona, because after all, the Espanyol goalkeeper had plenty of interest from Premier League clubs, clubs in the Serie A, clubs in the Bundesliga, even Real Madrid themselves. But yet, it's reported that Hansi Flick picked up the phone, called Joan Garcia, and convinced him that Barcelona would be the best project for his future, despite other clubs offering him a lot more money. And that's what, ladies and gentlemen, I've been talking about, or I've talked about in previous videos or previous podcasts. And it's that one thing that Bartomeu forgot when he was president is the appeal of Barcelona, where Bartomeu always used to offer the highest contracts to the players to try to convince them to come. You know, if a player was being offered 60 million by other clubs, Bartomeu would be like, I'll offer you 80 to convince you to come here. And it's like, bro, You don't need to do that. This is FC Barcelona. People grow up dreaming of playing here. You don't have to offer the highest contract. People already want to come here. You just got to offer them, well, a decent contract. But anyways, let's end this video with the news in regards to Marcus Rashford, because Inter Milan are looking to snatch the English player away. Now, Inter Milan are looking to make some reinforcements after they completely imploded towards the end of the season, where they went from aspiring to win a treble to winning absolutely nothing. Reminds me of a team that wears white that plays in Madrid. I can't remember the name, after all. I don't remember the name of loser teams, but anyways, that's not the topic. But Inter Milan are looking to reinforce themselves, especially with Marcus Rashford, and they're looking to convince the player to join them. But of course, as I reported before, Rashford wants to come to Barcelona. Barcelona are willing to sign him, but only on loan with an option to buy, which is something that right now Manchester United are refusing to do. Man U want to offload Marcus Rashford on a permanent basis. So for now, the name of the game is patience, where as long as Marcus Rashford sticks to his position that he only wants to come to Barca and Barca only, Barcelona can wait as long as they need to, because the more time passes by, the more it will put the pressure on Man U, because as the summer transfer market starts to close, they're going to think, okay, we want to offload Rashford on a permanent basis. Barcelona don't want to take on a permanent basis, but at the same time, the window's about to close, and if we don't get rid of him, we're going to be stuck with him for the whole season. So screw it. Let's just loan him. Whatever, it's not what we want, but at least he's not here, and we don't just have a player sitting on the bench, you know, earning a huge salary. So that is the news. Again, if Rashford insists on his position coming to Barca and Barca only, Barcelona have nothing to worry about. But if he ends up going somewhere else, then of course that's his decision, and Barcelona will have to look somewhere else. For example, Lookman, which again we talked about during the podcast. That is all. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Visca Barça.